A lovely song to start the Sunday morning. So we thought we'll discuss a little bit, share our thoughts, and we can all do that together. How the yesterday's Murli, I think, so it will be quite fresh in all our minds. Um, true heart, and honest heart. Honestly, that's been one of my favorite topics and probably one of the virtues I've sometimes you admire things in yourself or you feel like things that take you forward in life. Probably honesty is what honesty is what kept me human, and it's kept me a BK per se as well. And because I think when we start Gyan, the more we learn about things, the more we learn about I don't like using the word right and wrong, but things that have a certain impact. So, you want to do things that have a more positive impact in your life. There's a better karmic return for things. And I don't feel like there's any eternal wrong decisions that we make, or there's any stain that we get in our lives, on our soul for having made certain decisions, what we call the vices. We've made a decision to be angry, we've made a decision to be greed, but that's the beauty of the drama Baba has created, and that's the beauty of depth where Baba takes us on a journey, that there's a whole cycle. We are a holistic human being. I have the most pure part as well that I play, but then I also gradually come down, and I also like to enjoy play with the vices and go along that side as well. But through that, then Baba timely comes at right at the end of the kalpa to say, well, this is the most vicious you can be, this is the worst and the lowest you can be. Now through that you can also rise. And the most uh, inspiring example, or the inspiring event in front of us is Mama and Baba. Very, very stark. I mean, I obviously did not know them personally. Wish we all did. With the stories we read, very stark, different personalities. Even on the surface level, a man, 60-year-old, 70-year-old man, but Kumari, 16, very pure, hasn't seen the world. She's always been loved. She's always been great at school. Very, very gentle, very pure. She doesn't know what the vices are. So Mama and Baba, very two stark different. But, through Mama's journey, having been the pure Kumari, she shows that it's quicker to get to number one. So she went a little bit faster than Baba. But then Baba also shows, even though, he went through the vices, he's got a family, he's seen the world, he's done businesses, he's, got a whole family, he's done all of that. The effort took a little bit more, if we can say it like that. It took a few more years, but he got there as well. So, when we look at our lives, when I look at my life, there's phases when, we should never be comparing to other people, but when I look at our own lives, there are phases when I feel like I'm flying high, a pure angel and doing beautiful things. But then there are certain, I would say, units. How we have units in university, there's different units. You've got this unit, that unit, different subjects that you do. So, there's a different unit that comes up that you're not very comfortable with. Life does that to you. Sometimes there's a circumstances or sanskar is being played up that you need to work through, which you're not very comfortable with. That happens to us, and it can happen. And fortunately, it happens throughout our time. But the longer we watch our journey, and then we see, okay, well, this I didn't really expect it. Do I, sometimes you go, did I deserve this? Is life fair? Those sort of questions sometimes come up. But then to observe it from that kind of a detached point of view, to just say, okay, well, I've done, I've completed my my E12, my, what do you call it, E12 graduation. I've done that. I've done my graduation. I've done that, and I'm on to the next chapter. Maybe I've, just enrolled into master's. So that does not diminish my bachelor's degree. All the effort that I put in my Brahmin life is just the next chapter. So having the courage, I think having the courage to look at my own journey, but very, very much being aware and taking the inspiration from, well, the inspirational figures that Baba has put in front of us. It's not, they are there, they can be there for everyone, but not everyone has the opportunity to connect. They don't, like this month, for example, is Guzar Dadiji's month. I take it as a whole month like we do for uh, I like to indulge in a little bit extra. It was 11th of March that Dadiji became Avyakt. So, same we do for Avyakt month, January. We like to spend the whole month with Baba and we can feel the power. And for years, I've been trying to do that with Mama as well. June, I want to develop a special connection with Mama. So you put in extra efforts and, kind of invoke her every day, to build a relationship. You have to talk to them and invite them. So this month, sometimes they bless you as well. And I think this month I really felt like Gulzar Dadiji is really inspiring me in different ways. So, and when there's a little I do want to share that sometimes what happens is we've all got the power to make small things big. We've all got that power of expansion. Someone just looks at you wrong, and then you can be sulking for a whole day. How dare they look at me wrong? Why didn't they say hello nicely to me? We've all got that power. We've seen that in our lives for, for a long time. So we like to use that power in a positive way. Sometimes you sit in Amrit Vela, you're just, having a nice chat to yourself or writing a journal, and you just get one second of inspiration. Maybe they've come and blessed you and given you some sakash. Dadis do that. Baba does that too. Baba says that many times that I go around to everyone's house and every day I give them sakash, but we have to be ready to catch it. A few days ago, I felt sometimes, yeah, so daddies do that too. I felt something, just a moment of just what Dadiji was. Dadiji was so pure. I know I haven't met her many times. I didn't really interact with her, but the few times we'd go and get her toldi from her. I was fortunate enough to meet her. Some of us might have done that when she was last few years in Mumbai as well. So calm. We look at the external, obviously cancer, but not a small thing. So the body, when she was quite old, well into her 90s, so body wasn't like sparkling like a 20-year-old. But to her, getting the drishti from her, and this morning as well, Amrit Vela was churning that, just that power, that purity, that innocence that Dadi kept, that can take us so many places. And I really feel, especially a lot of us live in, metro, big cities, and we all live in Kalyug, even if we live in small cities. Big things are celebrated, achievements are celebrated. How many views you have, how popular you are, how smart you are, how well you can talk. All of these things are clapped, and that's what kids are also encouraged to do. So that's the society encourages us to be grand, be more richer, buy a bigger car. But there's nothing wrong with that, but those are the only things that are sort of pushed by this world. Those are the only things celebrated by this world. So, but going back to what the inspiration that the dadis and Baba set for us very clearly, that will happen, that's going to happen. That's the first thing one of the first thing Baba comes and tells us. I am establishing Satyug. Satyug, where you will be the king and you will have thrones, you will have gold, you will have diamonds. So it's not like we need to shun any of that, but that's not the only reason why I exist. Baba always focuses on Karam Yoga, Karam Yoga. And we're used to Karam for, well, the entire 63 births more, but all of my 84 births, 5,000 years, we've been Karam focused. We've been doing stuff. The first half of the cycle, we also had the awareness of what I am, my real purpose, not just the bodily function. And then that kind of got more, as the vices came in, it just became about the body, which is limited. So it's just about survival, reproduction, survival, reproduction. So at the end of Kali Yuga, that's what the world appreciates, because that's all it knows. survival, reproduction, because that's all the body knows. It knows it's going to die one day. So it needs to reproduce to carry on that legacy. That's the memory of the body. And survival, because the body is limited, it can be attacked, it can be hurt, it can be burnt. So both of these things are at the paramount of Kali, because, and then fear, a lot of fear comes through that because of the limited. But Baba wants us to have the balance of both. The body will always be there. It's a very important part of me. So survival, reproduction, but all of that's always been there. Very first birth, Lakshmi Narayan, it's a couple. Baba sets the pure Pravriti mark. He wants us to have a loving, happy family. But now we need to change, because sometimes it needs to be a balance. But when one thing tips over so much, then I need to work on the other. Sometimes when you have too much sugar, you've had too many desserts, what do you feel like, and then the next day the doctor will say, okay, have Karela juice, have something bitter, have something, you can't be living on Karela. It's not healthy for the body either. It's more like a medicine. But if you've had too much of one thing, too much of an imbalance, then you need to balance it out. So yoga, that's why we need to focus on yoga a lot more now, remembering. So it's not a punishment that I'm being taken away from the sparkle of the world, that I should have a title, I should be loved, I should be respected. But it's because I've tipped it over so much, being dependent on the bigger car. My work ethic, my work day, my whole day is just, okay, I need to work, I need to earn money, I need to do this. It's just about the body. It's become just about karam, and I've forgotten about me. So now Baba's given us this little cocoon of 100 years, the diamond age of the Sangam Yuga, that this time focus on yourself. Karam will kind of automatically flow on. So having to focus on myself. And in the Murli, in the what you guys would have read yesterday, the Murli, there was a point about being a point. The more you can be a point, the more essential you can be. So having the courage, I think these things sound very nice. We are all BKs. We get impressed by Baba's words. And somewhere sometimes we don't agree with Baba's points, and then it becomes a journey to kind of realize what point of view Baba wants us to have, how Baba wants me to transform. But I feel like it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to step away. And I don't mean intellectually. I don't think anyone in the world will disagree that to be happy and calm and to be centered and to be by yourself is not something we should be. I don't think anyone in the world will disagree with that. It is the ultimate truth. But what sets the Ashtratan or Brahma Baba apart from the rest of us, or what makes my effort a little bit more fast, Tivra Purushat, what sets my effort apart from, even my lazy self, is having the courage to apply that in my life. Most of us I see going around, and it's about checking myself. It's not about the social commentary we're trying to do. Most of us go around thinking that, yes, there's, the Brahmin life, I need to do this, I need to do that. And, we'll add a little bit, yes, I've read the Murli, I need to apply it during my day. And, and that, because it's social commentary. And, and I also want to come back to that as well, but being able to apply, have the courage, the everyday little decisions that I make. There has to be a broader aspect of my life as well. And again, it's not, Baba wants us to live in a household. He wants us to practice, because if I don't practice it living in a household, living it in the world, I can't really apply it out. I can't really apply it throughout the kalpa if I haven't really practiced. I haven't really honed the skills of how to, juggle kids, how to juggle 5 different projects at work, how to create, how to use my brain and my soul power at the same time. Because, many of us, and that's about intricacies of living in a Brahmin life. The more I observe, the more I realize what I'm actually doing. I'll give an example. I think about, so I just came in a different center because the sister was gonna. So this center was gonna be have no one because the sister had gone to India. We had the big NCCC World Retreats from everyone. So anyway, the center was not gonna have anyone, and I was by myself. And you get so used to, this is just a personal sharing, you get so used to doing things correctly sometimes, and maybe I'm being too honest, but sometimes when I live in a center, I do things because I'm supposed to. And, I caught myself doing that because that's not what a real Brahmin is. Of course, I'm going to get up at, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever time I get up. But why am I getting up? My real journey, my real honesty with myself is why am I doing that and how am I doing that? Because when I know my why, because what happens is in this center, we invite people to come for Amrit Vela, students, a lot of them come. So, and students are all varieties. Some of them are, you can tell them to be, quiet, be gentle on the outside. But, there's a variety. And when it happens, some people 4:45, bang, and they start, yap, 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 yap. Or, you can hear the chatter. And it's just a little incident, and you are used to a certain things a certain way, but then when an event comes, my first thought was, well, it's easy, no one, it's easy enough to say, well, don't come for Amrit Vela, or something that disturbs, you can tell that person to change, or don't talk in Baba's room, or these righteous these righteous little tick boxes that we have, this should be done, this can't be done in a center, what's the right thing to do, which is not wrong. But then I caught myself doing, and I wanted to bring myself back to, why do I do what I want to do? If I'm constantly wanting to change someone else, why? Or if I'm constantly outsourcing my sense of peace on something else, why am I dependent? And it's just a tiny little thing. It wasn't like, on the surface, nothing wrong was said, nothing wrong was done. We still did our Amrit Vela. We still, did what we had to do, needed to do. But it's this internal, sometimes the tiniest little things that you catch about yourself and you go, what am I doing? Why am I doing? And can I bring it back to why I am doing it? The center was still happy, all of that stuff. But what was I doing? My Brahmin journey, Seva is one part of that. But unless I can have the courage or the decency or, having the time and the effort to look at myself, why did I start doing that? So even if it's like a small little deviation from my inspiration or my reason for doing certain things, I want to catch that. I want to catch that and say why. Why did I deviate from what I want to do? And the same things with so we have a lovely every hour traffic control goes off, and at the center that happens every hour. And many times I catch myself um sure, there was a time when I caught myself, because you're really in the middle of something that it will burn if you step away for a minute. And then I asked myself, maybe the point, and you always say, oh, I'll just finish this roti, or this last little bit so it doesn't burn, then I'll do my traffic control. And then just one thought came, okay, reasonable, not wrong with it. But then another thought came, if the point of every moment is to be, mama's slogan, har ghadi antim ghadi, every moment is my last moment. If literally this moment was going to be my last moment, will I be stuck? Will my emotions, will my brain thinking be stuck? Oh, I burnt that roti. Oh, I should not have burnt that roti. Or, I should have turned the gas off, or I should, will I be stuck in that? It's a tiny little thing. Of course, I'm not gonna, on a everyday, you're not gonna die that moment. But am I training? Point of the traffic control, I feel, is to train my soul, is to train my thinking pattern. So if I am defaulting to the roti shouldn't burn, I should turn the gas off before I remember go do traffic control and remember Baba, why am I doing that? Because obviously it can happen, right? It can happen that I can literally just leave that moment, right? So if I've actually left my body that moment, la antim ghadi, if that is my antim ghadi, and my thought was, oh, I should not have burnt that jam on the on the stove, is that the training I want to carry with me for my next birth? So I feel, I hope this example makes sense. Um, so I feel like the more we catch ourselves, the more I pay attention to the little things in my life and not big social commentaries. Again, as I said, it's very easy to say, oh, but job is the most important thing. Oh, what you gonna do if you don't have a house? What are you gonna do? It's very easy because, and I'm not saying shun any of that. I'm not saying we need to step away from any of that, but you need to catch yourself. Why am I doing that? Is it because I don't have enough courage to explore that part of my life? Is it because I don't have enough time or enough effort, or I don't trust myself enough to have that Shakti? Baba's given me all the powers. How can I, if a circumstance has come in front of me, I've got the power. Baba's given me the power. Baba has said, how many Murlis Baba shares? And I think it was last Sunday Murli, Baba said, Sarva Shaktivan, master of all the powers. And that day I have I always used to write, and then, somewhere it went away. And then again, I went, well, I'm going to start writing again this sheet. And, maybe it was a part of the reason. For some reason, a lot of people gifted me, gifted me diaries. My birthday's in January. I got a lot of diaries for New Year's, and, sometimes you go here and there. I got a lot of diaries. So I was like, maybe it's a, it's a sign. So I started writing, I'm wanting to start to write again. It feels nice to have a pencil and a pen and just scribble. And I came across this wonderful technique, you know, uh, called brain dump. Because, sometimes some of us, so, I live a lot in my head. I think so much, I'm wanting to, and again, that's a power that, sometimes I overthink. And I think a lot of us say that I can't stop thinking. And I go, well, that's a great superpower, to be able to think. I just have to have enough sensibility to redirect that to go, okay, what am I gonna think about? What are the I can be doing? Mama had that, they were constantly churning Murli. We have the power, we've got the same power, but we, sometimes tend to use it for waste or useless things. But use that power to create a journey and create a life for myself. If I've got that power, maybe one day I will get to the stage where Gulzar Dadiji was just completely silent. She had such a wonderful, maybe, I don't know her whole journey, so I can't comment too much. But, every time I took Drishti from her, it was just bliss. I remember the very first time I saw her. One of the times I went took Toli from her, I just remember this. I saw her and she was so nice, and she was so loving and warm, but I just got taken aback, and I was sitting in the corner at the back. And I just remember there was like this, was it aura? But it was just like sparkles all around her. And it was the day after, because Dadiji used to meet day after Baba Milat, when Baba used to come for Brahmani Hoti Thi. So day after, and I remember it was just sparkles. It was just sparkles. And I went, wow, like a million, like fairy lights. It was just sparkles all around her. And I couldn't imagine a more wonderful being, I think she was talking to people, it was just, giving Toli. She doesn't talk much. It was just giving, apples. And she said, Isko mila, inko mila. And, it wasn't a big group, maybe 10 of us. And she would just keep repeating, did they get it? Did they get it? And it was just so childlike. But I was just enamored by this beautiful, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle that she had. And, things like that really inspire me to go back to the roots. Because sometimes again, I can only really, because we're talking about having an honest and a true heart, I can only relate to my own journey, is that sometimes it takes the courage to be silent, because, not because I don't like it, because the courage part is we all love it, but I think because we have so many stories attached, we've been told, I remember, I remember one person used to come and say, every time I sit and meditate, people come and ask me what you're doing, and I say, I'm meditating. They say, but what are you doing? What are you doing? They want to know what you're doing. Meditation is just to be. It's not something that you do. Again, it has become such a and again, maybe because we've swayed so far away from our path of being the true me, the real me, the honest me, is that we have to have steps to meditate, which might be okay in the beginning, but I still have to remember that I just have to be, someone outside looking at me sitting for an hour doing nothing might think, well, what are the steps you do? What do you do? What's the journey? What's going on in your head? They want to know but you just have to be, and it takes courage. I feel it really takes courage for me to be okay with that. A lot of us have changed so many timetables in our lives to be able to fit that silence in. We manage people a certain way, we manage our lifestyles a certain way, we manage my thinking a certain way so I can go back to the real me. And again, going back to Gulzar Dadi ji, I remember there was a little clip going around, those reels, the YouTube, whatever. Wow, a lot of us would have seen it to say, and it was 4 stages of yoga. Gulzar Dadi said such a lovely, and she said, the highest is to just be in your point form, which Baba also talked about the Murli yesterday. Just the highest is to be your point form, and that takes. And I will say, the more you look into your life, that takes a lot of courage. It's easier for me to go out and sing a song. It's easy for me to go out and make a lovely dish at the center. It's easy for me to, and that's also part of me being yogyuk and applying all of that. But it takes courage. It takes a lot of effort and time management for me to go, no, I'm just gonna sit in Baba's room and just be and try and be a point form. Not while I'm doing, of course, I'm gonna do a lot of things. You don't sit inert. Of course, I'm going to apply yoga through that as well, but it takes courage, it takes time, and I feel like it takes a lot of time management for me to go, I'm just going to sit by myself, go to that highest. And I also love when Baba talks about, bachpan ke din bhulana dena, the child. Do not forget because when you go through your journey of even being a BK, there's a lot of enthusiasm, or there's a reason why you wanted to be a VK. And you knew that for the first, when you had that honeymoon period with Baba. But then somewhere along the line, we get more into the technicality. I feel sometimes more into the technicality of, doing the right things, ticking the right boxes, getting up at 4 a.m., doing which are lovely, which are great because we need structure. We need structure in our lives as well. And that's an essential part of being a human being. But you cannot forget the art and the elusive and the abstract and just the true emotion of what I really wanted. And I really feel like that's the fuel of what can drive me to be a BK, or what keeps me being so inspired, especially more on the times when when you're at a crossroads, should I, shouldn't I? So you've got the structure set in place, which, with a lot of respect to everyone, it's not easy for a lot of us to, get the Amrit Vela, get the Murli on time, change my diet, change my lifestyle, change the company I hang out with, what time I sleep. It's not, it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of things I've had to shift around and change around to give myself that self-respect. But I also need, I've got the bricks and the mortar of having a nice, lovely structure, the BK Maryadas, but I need that connection, that fuel of my love for myself. What did I really, truly start off with? I remember was quite young when I started. And Baba always used to say, you have to do seva, you have to do seva. And the only way I knew seva was, I grew up in a Sikh household. So our seva was, of course, donate money. They always got the golak. So you put lots of money and also, helping in the kitchen, kitchen a lot. So lots of washing the dishes and, physical things out, you're very active and because you're used to what the things. So that's the only seva that I knew. And, centers in Sydney are quite far apart. And, at that age, I was underage. I didn't have a car, couldn't drive. I was 14, 15. And I always used to say, how am I going to do Seva? I wasn't earning, so I couldn't really put money in. And the center was so far away. And Nirmala Didi used to be that center at that time, Sydney Ashfield Center. And I used to go, and she was quite strict as well. And I honestly, and I don't think I knew enough Maryadas and what I, the qualifications of helping in the kitchen. And obviously, you're way too young to, offer and all of that. So I used to talk to Baba and say, Baba, what, how am I gonna do it? You always say seva every day, all these wonderful Murlis, and what am I gonna do? So I used to just kind of have a chat to Baba. And then, and I think one of the Murlis, it came that Mansa Seva is, also a Seva. And I remember at that time, um, I used to have a study desk, and behind the door, I think I had a map of Australia for maybe geography or something. We were doing it, a map of Australia, and I said, okay, great. So I used to close my door, turn my chair around, and say, I'm gonna give it Sakash, the way I knew it, whatever that meant. Again, I don't know if it was right, wrong, but that's been my journey. I don't know. I've looking at the technicality of remembering Baba, the technicality of the Maryadas. You can give it an excuse because you were 13, 14, or, you didn't know better. But I've had so much, so many wrong things you could have done because I maybe did know better. Sometimes you're lazy, or sometimes you don't have the resources. So many things happen. But then what keeps you, so, you can either sulk about that, but or you can be proud of, you did the best you knew. You can be proud of the fact that, you your journey is with Baba. I was being honest to Baba. This is the best I know. Maybe even if I'm being lazy, hopefully not, but laziness is not really a virtue we want to hold. But even if you are, you have to be honest to Baba. You have to communicate to Baba. And I really feel the Ashtrathan, the cream of the crop. They get there. The dadis were dadis not because they were perfect, not because they, Prakashmani Dadi, wonderful parents came, they knew, brought her in. Gulzar Dadi, a 7-year-old, pure, angel. Janki Dadi had a tough life, married life, a forced life. She was forced to be pregnant, had a birth child who died a few years later. What made them dadis wasn't that their life journey was perfect. It wasn't that, they didn't have qualms. It wasn't that, Baba and Mama were completely different what we started off with. It wasn't that they were ideal people, what the world, this Kalyug portrays us. Perfect singer, perfect body, what this world wants. It wasn't that. It was their honesty that kept them going. It was their honesty and truth. There was no pretending. There was no showing off to be a BK that I needed to be. And I say that more now, not because I'm cynical or because there's, but we notice that. And it's again about noticing within myself. It's easy to show people a few things, it's easy to tell people a few things. It's easy to, get up and be there. But what's going on inside is what makes me pure, is what makes a dadi, is what makes my journey joyful, and what keeps my journey going forward. As we said, in the beginning, I've done my E12, my bachelor's, in the sense of my Brahmin, this course that I'm doing, this Brahmin course that I've signed up to be a perfect Devta that Baba wants me to be. So there's going to be a different challenge, a higher challenge at every step. Was it yesterday? A couple of days ago in the Murli said, things are going to come to you that you didn't even know expected. And the more honest you are to ourselves, that's what's going to keep me going forward, because that's going to happen. Not because I will be now disqualified from all the love and the work that I've done, but I need to refine myself a little more, a little more. So keeping the inspiration of the dadis, what they showed us, what Baba showed us, it was complete honesty. If you read Baba's, Brahma Baba's, and I feel like it took the amount of humility it takes to share your whole journey, and that to a spiritual path is only Brahma Baba could have done that. Only Brahma Baba, honestly. And, the power and the love he has for every one of us, maybe that's what motivated you. But it's not easy to share your spiritual journey. You can share the stories and the powers that you got through it, but to share your weaknesses, only Brahma Baba could have done that. He showed a graph of going up and down, and his thinking. A while ago, I was listening to a Murli way, the Sakar Murli. I like to listen to the think I might be going a little bit over time, but I'll just share this and we can then open up the floor. So the Sakar Murli, in Baba's Sakar voice, and in that Baba was sharing that there's another one that I heard that was lovely when they were working out. So dadis were asking Baba about the food. We all know about, we bahar ka nahi khana hai, we have to be strict with how we make and what state of mind we made. But this must have been very early on when they didn't really know. Well, they were still figuring out. So, it was a half-hour Murli where dadis were asking, so can we buy sweets from the shop? What elements we can buy? What can we offer? So it was literally a conversation between dadis and Baba asking. Oh, so Baba was saying, no, you can't buy the brought shop sweet. And then she would say, well, what about just koya? Or, what about just condensed milk or something? So it was literally a conversation to figure out, which we all kind of sometimes we still figure stuff out, but which we kind of take for granted. But Baba sharing his honest and things like that kind of take you back in the raw power and the innocence of discovering my journey. It's not about being a perfect little painted BK. I'm not I don't need to be a celebrity, fortunately. So I can be raw. I can be, I can be flawed, but I want to work through my flaws. Every flaw that I observe or other people observe and tell me, be like that. I want to sit with it and be honest and write about it and discover it together with Baba. That's what Baba's holding Baba's hand to go, okay, well, this is what I feel. This is what they feel. What do you think, Baba? And if you're honest to Baba, he's got a game plan. He's got a plan to make you perfect. The last Avyak Murli we had, Suraj Bhai also gives a class before that. And in that class, he said, and I've always felt that, because Baba says it in many Murlis as well, but it was just such a nice reminder when Suraj Bhai said it as well. He said, Ant Samay tak, so until the very last time, Baba keeps, I think, 2 or 3 seats, 1 or 2 seats in the 8 jewels available to motivate, to motivate that you should never feel that you're behind. You should never feel, well, I never, how many people, how many of us came in 1936? None of us. None of us came in 1936. So, but we've had journeys, right? If you're honest through your journey and you're going through what we're doing, he will take you there, but you have to be ready. You have to be honest. And just another point that I was going to make that Baba said in the Sakar Murli was, when Sakar Baba first started getting visions, he thought this was it because the vision he got was destruction and then Satyug. And Baba said, Mujhe laga yahi hona. So this is Brahma Baba saying, I thought, of course, destruction tomorrow, Satyug, the day after. which is kind of true in the whole aspect of things. But he said, I didn't know we had to do purushart to become deities. That's something he had to discover, and that's in the Murli. If you want, I can share it, and you can share it in the group. Baba saying that it's something to even do purushart is something they had to discover, not take for granted. They just thought, okay, destruction, and then golden age is just going to happen. They didn't know they had to make their own efforts and have that journey. So I think if someone like Brahma Baba can share something so basic, something so basic, so I think we can also be a little bit more joyful with my weaknesses as well. Okay, I didn't know a few things, but I want to be honest. I get out my diary and pen and write to Baba, talk to Baba, and then see where the journey takes me. Okay, so we've gone a little bit. Have I? It's 11 in my techniques. So they're supposed to talk for half hour. Then we have open the floor up. Okay, let's have a minute of silence, and then if we have questions, we can talk further. Let's open our hearts to only Baba. Okay. Anyone's got any questions or comments? Someone in the chat. Point stage, true heart, does love vibes flow? Point stage, true heart. Um, so I really feel like that there is I read in a book somewhere that um, Paramdham, the Supreme, our home, is so beautiful. It's so virtuous. It's so pure. It's so wonderful. We can't imagine, and before Baba sent us down on planet Earth, and this was from a book. It was a non-fiction book, which was a great book. But I really like this point. She said God had to switch. They call it the highest soul, the highest soul in that book. They said he had to switch off how beautiful Paramdham is, how beautiful our real home is. Because if we carried that memory back on earth, we would not be able to live. you know, it's so much more than we can imagine. It's so much more. You know, because memory is like that, right? So if I know, if I'm having I've got a wonderful mansion with butlers and, I've got everything on a platter and I'm eating pure food, my health is perfect, and suddenly something happens the next day and I have to go live in a swamp, in a shanty little, and that memory is going to hurt me. That memory is going to keep, it's going to keep pulling me, and it's not going to let me live in that little swamp. So, in that sort of sense, that book said that the world is so beautiful up there, my Paramdham, my supreme world where Baba lives. It's so pure, it's so wonderful. That memory had to be switched off, because otherwise I would not be able to live on this planet Earth, which is also, essential for this part of the drama. So the comment that how much love we're gonna have in point form. Point form is not bland. It's not about sitting in an inert state. It's not switching off my life. It's more about when you're used to a certain things, even in psychology, they say when you get used to few things, it's very uncomfortable when you try to go back to status quo. If you're uh, for years, circadian rhythms, for example, if someone's had night shifts or they've had issues with something, and their body is used to being happy and calm at nighttime, which seems to be everyone in the world now. So to bring it back to the circadian rhythm and align it with the sun, getting up at the proper time, eating at the proper times, getting your, because body holds memory. It's gonna be, that transition is going to be very uncomfortable because you're used to doing things, can I use the word wrong way? Oh, not the right way. Okay, don't like using those words, but it's not along with the alignment of the sun. So to bring it back to that stage of transition is going to be very uncomfortable. So it's the same. When I've been so body conscious, I'm used to it. It's my comfort. My body has that memory as well. It knows how to be. It feels good to be angry. It feels good to have that extra samosa. you know, good is, it feeling that niceness is an intrinsic quality of the soul, but getting it through something that's not the most beneficial for my soul is what I'm changing now. I'm used to the vices. I'm used to the body being the, being giving me what I felt like was, lighting up my soul. But now, because I'm transitioning, going into silence is uncomfortable. Changing a few things are uncomfortable. So I have to be okay. Again, being honest, I have to be okay with that journey, that this is a transition time. You know, a while back, I think a month back or something, I was going through something and I just felt so uncomfortable. And then I was going for a walk and I reminded myself, Baba says I'm the laundryman. So I said, okay, maybe it feels so, I was trying to do change of something, a sanskar or something. It felt so uncomfortable. And I said, well, why, if it's so uncomfortable, why should I even bother to change it? And we do that. It feels uncomfortable to be in silence. It feels uncomfortable to give someone love and sakash when I'm not ready for it. Or if I don't want to be in that. It feels uncomfortable. Then I say, well, maybe it's uncomfortable because at this time, how the washing machine, that India, they used to do the bat. They use the bat and they beat the clothes. So I said, maybe it's that time when I'm feeling like I'm being beaten, but I'm actually cleaning. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, did someone say something? Yeah, so, transitioning from being a body conscious person, the vices, they've been survival modes for me, I suppose. Maybe that's why we started using them. And then everybody else was using them. And then, whatever. But then now it's uncomfortable to go back to. So to be the point form, that's going to be extremely uncomfortable. Because I'm not used to it. It's the real true me. And Baba, says that in every Murli. He reminds me his love, his dedication, his perseverance. That's the true you, bacha. That's the real you. I read, you are just a point. You are full. And in that point form, I am all encompassing. That's the real true me. But it's a journey. I can know that intellectually, but to live that, to spend my life being Manmanabhav, to spend the moments of my day trying to just be a point form, that's going to be uncomfortable. That's going to be uncomfortable. It's going, even though I know it's the best thing for me to do, it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the thing I have to persevere through. Mama, Baba, Dadis, they become that because they persevere through the boring routine. It's nice to have these glamorous stories where, and I personally don't like sharing when people share, they were doing yoga and, Janki Dadis, when she had there was a huge, when they have big gatherings and programs and they always say Dadi's Prakriti Jeet and there's torrential rain and there was this and that. And Dadi reached there and stopped. And, that will always happen. But I personally don't like sharing those stories because that's not what they worked for. They weren't for all occult powers. That was just sort of something that happened or, whatever. Their life made it. She became Dadi because it was all about getting up at 2 a.m., reading the Murli, churning the Murli. When the brain gets bored and it wants to, go on YouTube or play a game or, do something, they persevered through that little hardship to go say no, being Manmanabha, being boring, remembering Baba, which can honestly, I can only say for myself, when I step away from remembering Baba, it's because I feel like something else is more entertaining or something else can give me a lot more. That's the memory of my body. That's body conscious memory. And I'm used to it. So to bring it back to Baba, bring it back to the true me, it's going to be uncomfortable. I have to persevere through that. And when I persevere through that, that's the journey that brings me closer to becoming like Brahma Baba. It brings me closer to becoming like Janki Dadi and all the Dadis and the true me as well. It's that kind of expand a bit on the point form. It will be uncomfortable. I think point of honesty is, I cannot expect my everyday 2 a.m. wake up to be like, wow, bliss. Maybe it is for some of us. I have seen boring days. I have seen. I'll share another story that a while ago. So I love living in India, and every time I come back to Sydney, I just soak and I go, why am I out of Bharat? So this was a time when I'd just come back from Bharat, and again, I'm in my Suki state, and I was used to getting up at 2 a.m. So every time I'd get up at 2 a.m., I'd get these I'd get these. They weren't visions, but it felt like emotions of destruction, feelings of destruction. It wasn't visions. They was just very uncomfortable, like destruction everywhere. And the first thing you do is, what have I done wrong? Have I eaten wrong? Have I seen something wrong? That kind of thing. So, but it was so uncomfortable. Then I'd go back to bed and I'm like, okay, I'll get up at 4. I'd get up at 4 and it was bliss again. It was, nice warmth and silence. And that probably went on for maybe a week. And then I caught myself to say, well, why am I so scared of these emotions? Why am I so scared that I want to go back to bed and shut it off? So, then I had to go through that journey to say, and then you can find, spiritually, there's always a reason why things happen. So, if there are emotions like that, rather than shutting it down, say it's okay. So, and being okay with it, it's my job, or not my job, it's something I've decided. I like to take it as a job. I've decided I want to wake up at 2 a.m. So, whatever that brings, I know that's beneficial for me. Even if that means it's like, feeling not comfortable feelings, how I deal with that, maybe give that something, give that energy, sakash. Maybe it's I sometimes feel like maybe it's a bhakta asking for something. If I can turn my head like that, okay, how do I deal with that? But if I've decided something, let it be boring. What I intellectually, my brain says this is good for me, let it be boring. Let it be very mundane. Let it just be a 9 to 5 sort of a thing I do, but show up for my Brahmin life, show up for the Murli, show up and be very alert and very attentive. And if there's days when I'm up and down and up and down, I'm still going to put the best that I can. If I physically, it's very easy for me to say, if I've got a broken arm or a broken leg, I can't go, the running, the 10-kilometer run that I do every day. Physically, I would know that. So mentally, if there's like a illness or a fracture or something that, anxiety, something that's happening, I have to be okay with that as well. With my broken leg, I will manage, sitting and doing something else, maybe hand stretches or something. Same with my emotions and my time as well. So if mentally I'm going through something, find something more constructive to do. But be okay that maybe there's a fracture or yeah.
Oh, interesting. Really, Advan Bhai, sister, I was waiting to talk to you because I know when the topic was announced yesterday and that you're going to do, because 3 days we were soaking in this love in a love story. I liked a true heart, true child, but I don't think I like the word true Brahmin. That just makes me very disciplined. I also liked when you shared about the story of the 60 and 16, whom we call Baba and Mama. But I've seen all the stories in the scriptures when Andal, you or Meera used to love Krishna or Laila Majnu, and so many of these personalities, they had the soulful love. I've seen all that. But that's why I put in the question, and I don't know whether I have time now because the time on the watch says any time the admin are going to close the session. But I will just put in three things. Yes, the one is that point. That's what I've given. It's given in the Murli. True heart is the point stage. I was just thinking point is a completely different after my heart is opened, everything is done. Then it's the complete meeting stage. So how can a heart be a point? I cannot flow. I have to just stop, put a full stop. One. Secondly, is God true to me? Can I check what is in his heart? So, see, for him, he has never given his heart to anyone. 63 births I had to give my heart, I had to give here, I was thrown to pieces. But he was only one single piece. So, I can't even ask him, are you true to me? And thirdly, when do I open my heart to God? And what is the opening my heart? When I saw him, my heart was already ripped open. I just wanted to a little thing from you. That's why I was waiting. Sorry, the questions had overflowed.
Okay. I think how much Baba can be true to me, I can't even imagine that. Because I don't think it's because I've been hurt. It's just I'm not used to that level of love. I probably don't, this being in a human body, I don't think I will ever know unless I really put that, I really have that punch and that passion in my life to know. Then you go after Baba and you say, how much can you love me? This is what I can offer. And that's what, Shiv Baba comes and offers us. I can be anything you want me to be. You have to go after it. So if you, sister, or any of us, if you've got that passion, you want to know how much God can love you, ask him, go after him. If that's something that you really want to do, for little stories that I was sharing, I really wanted to do seva. So I would make up conversations have to be with Baba. You can share your point of view, but you have to be open to what Baba's got to offer. I cannot tell Baba. I cannot comprehend how great God is. I can only see him through what I know. The hurts I've been through, the virtues I know, the experiences I've had. I do not, and I can probably say that categorically, none of us know what truly God is capable of. He is God, and sometimes we dilute him down, which is, which Baba he wants to bring us, he wants to bring himself down to our level, but he is God. So if there's a point in your heart that you're really passionate about, go after Baba for it because you want to experience it, right? You want to know what true love is. You want to know what a healed, loving heart is. Ask Baba, sit with Baba, invoke that quality, and I can guarantee what Baba can offer. And that's a conversation with me and Baba, my true honesty with Baba, what Baba can offer me no one else can. Not my own thinking, not my own wisdom, no book in the world, not no one. Be honest to Baba. Whatever touches you, whatever disturbs you, go to Baba with that. As I said, I got a habit of writing again. So just writing 5-10 minutes a day, whatever's in my brain, I dump it down. Conversation to Baba. And I feel so light after that. 10 minutes, just I put a timer on. Whatever is, bothering me or not bothering me or just whatever comes, just dump it on Baba. And then if there's another point that I want to expand further on, take it to Baba. I don't want to take it to a BK. I don't want to take it to my friend. I don't want to take it to my psychologist. I don't want to take it to Google. I want to take it to Baba. This is the only time I get access, full time access to Baba. But I have to have faith. I have to have trust that yes, Baba is there. Take it to Baba. Your honesty can only be honest if you take it to Baba. You can try and work it out in your own head. It's not going to be as fruitful as what Baba can do. Remember that and always follow that and do that, and you will start seeing there will be more challenges, I can say. Your faith will be tested. Um, Not because Baba's testing it, but that's just how the way humans are. Things will be up and down. But if you remember that it is God, it's the God that I wanted. It's the soul that I yearned for forever. It's the soul that I wanted to say, please come with me, please. So there's something in my heart that trusts Baba. I just have to cash in on that trust now and remember that. Okay. It is 11:31 or 6 o'clock for us.
Sister, in the interest of time, can we look at a quick 2 minute song from your end for meditation and then we close the session? We're already running behind time.
Sure. Now, I've written a song on Satche, but I can't remember it now. Okay, let's think of another song. So I hope everyone goes to the week with an honest heart and a loving heart and connect to Baba. चढ़दी कला रहे हर जन दी मन विच उस याद है। चढ़दी कला रहे हर जन दी मन विच उस याद है। तू रब दा ध्यान तर लै मालिक नू याद कर ले सिमरन ही उस दी याद है। चढ़दी कला रहे हर जन दी मन विच उस दी याद है। तू रब दा ध्यान कर ले मालिक नू याद कर ले सिमरन ही उस दी याद है। चढ़दी कला रहे हर जन दी मन विच उस दी याद है। मन विच उस दी याद है। ओम शांति।
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, sister, for the beautiful song and the beautiful session. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Until then, have a blissful day.
ओम